Hello and welcome. In this Qucamba Reports video tutorial, you'll learn how to use the Document Report Wizard to generate a new document report for Microsoft Dynamics NAV. In the Create tab, click on the button Document to start the Document Report Wizard. On the first wizard page, I can select the basic settings for my report. First, I need to select a template, and for this I choose the document template. Next, I click on the Tablix template to select a suitable template for the tabular presentation of the data. After that, I select the report ID and then give the report a name. For this report, I'll use Sales Invoice. I've decided on this namely because I want to create with you a document report for a sales invoice. In the next field, local name, I'm going to use Verkaufsrechnung. This is the German translation of the English name. With next, I proceed to the following step. In this step, I now have to choose the table that I want to use for the report. As this is a document report, I'll use the posted document tables. And as I've already mentioned, I want to create a sales invoice, so I'll use the sales invoice header, tables 112 and 113. How you can select tables for the best results along with tips and techniques for working with data items and the field selection is discussed in another video. With the Control key pressed, I can mark both tables, and with a click on the plus, I can apply them to the right pane. As you can see, a hierarchy is directly recommended. The header at the top is at indentation level 0. The level below with the sales invoice line is indented, and as can be seen, there's already a data item link designating the recommended connection of the two data items to one another. At this point, I normally proceed here by clicking on Next. On the following page are the so-called field assignments. These assignments are necessary because on a sales document or a general document, for example, there is not only tabular data in the document body, but as well other data in the report header, such as the recipient's address for this document or the invoice number, posting date, etc. These fields in the template are already defined as placeholders and accordingly must now be connected to the header table field, that is to say, our sales header. As you can see in the left pane, some of the placeholders have already been assigned. This is done automatically by Qucamba Reports due to the choice of the name. What we still have is a field, namely the date header, that has not yet been clearly identified. A drop-down menu offers a selection of fields to define this. In my case, it would be the posting date, and so I enter PO, and the program immediately recommends the posting date. Good, that would be the placeholder for the field connection to the heading. The others are, of course, certain text constants that the report uses. Ideally, for an order confirmation, we just want to print order confirmation, and for an invoice, then it would, of course, just be invoice. With that in mind, we have the possibility to define the multi-language values of the text constants for all languages required. So here I entered the German translation for invoice, Rechnung, and for the ENU, invoice. If you'd like to include an additional language level, you can of course choose here from the available languages and augment them as needed. We'll go ahead and stick with German and English. In copy text, we specify the text that is to be printed on every copy. The captions are already set with copy and copy, as is the case with page number X of C. With that, I can now proceed to the next wizard step. On the fourth wizard page for the selected tables and the defined data items, I can now choose the fields which I would like to be displayed in the output. As we have already created and selected the heading field via the placeholder connection, usually only the lines are left for the selection. For example, these cells numbers which are to be displayed in tabular form, accordingly I need to select the required fields from here. Here I want to select the fields I would like to include. I want to include number and then the description. I also would like to include the unit of measure and the quantity, then the price, and also the line discount amount. I would as well like to include the line amount, which I will now search for via the full text search. You can see how quickly I'm able to find the line amount field using the full text search. As I've already mentioned, if you'd like to learn more tips and techniques for working with data items and the field selection, please check out my other video. So with that, the selection of the line fields is now completed, and I can now click on Next to proceed to the following wizard step. In this step, I need to determine exactly which fields are really to be included. So I don't need to do anything on the header because, as we discussed, the settings have already been defined by the placeholder. However, I still need to take care of the invoice lines. The question is, what do we actually want to have in the tabular output? In the middle pane, you can see the basic fields that are available and which we have selected. And in the right pane, the fields that are actually to be included in the report are displayed. In this case, I don't want to include the fields document number and line number, and as such, I just remove them. When I now have everything like I want it, then I click on Next to proceed to the following wizard step. So we've now reached step 6 of the wizard and are nearly finished. This step allows me to select the fields which are to be used for the summation. This, of course, is the case for the invoice line. We have several fields in the middle pane, which in principle could be totaled. However, only some of the fields really make sense for summation. In the right pane are the fields recommended by Qucamba Reports, Document Report Wizard, namely the line discount amount and the line amount. If, for example, I decide that I only need the line amount for the summation, then I could, of course, just remove the line amount discount with the minus button. Otherwise, I can just accept the recommendation as is and click on Next to proceed to the following wizard step. In this step, I have the option to change the basic information in the report, namely the ID, the English name, and the local name with the corresponding German translation. Here I have the possibility to enter a project prefix to my version list of the object. A prefix is automatically provided, that which was set while configuring the settings. Good. Now I still have another request which needs to be answered, the format address function. We need this because we want to send the customer a sales invoice. A customer address requires proper formatting, and for this, NAV has a code unit with formatting functions for various entities. In this case, we need to select a function that provides formatting of the bill to customer of the sales invoice header, to which the invoice will be sent. Therefore, I select the formatting function sales invoice bill to. This formats the address of the bill to customer according to the respective country regulations. One thing I need to point out, if you are unable to find a suitable address function here, you also have the possibility to program the information into the system via Seaside in NAV. Save this object and then return to this page and select it. The data is always generated live from NAV, and all suitable address formatting functions, in this case for table 112, the sales invoice header, are collected and made available for selection, which means that even your newly programmed function would as such be immediately available for selection. Okay, and with that, let's continue on. So I've chosen my formatting function and can now decide if I would like to have a copy loop included. This means I can decide whether I want to offer the user the possibility on the report's request to select the number of copies. In our case, for this report, as I would like it to be available for the users, I'll leave it on. And with that, I'm done. I just need to click on the Finish button to generate the report. The report is now directly imported to the NAV database, compiled, and is immediately available for use in the application. And as you can see now, the generated report has been loaded directly into the preview. I'm now going to switch to my C side in order to view the report with live data. So the report is now also available in C side, and I start it by clicking on Run. On the report's request page, I can determine the number of copies for the report. I've decided for just one copy, which means the output will include the original and one copy. And with that, I'll proceed to the preview window. In the preview window, I switch to full page so that we can get an overall impression. As you can see, we have a very optically standard conform document report. Here is the sender's address from my company data, then the recipient, which we extracted from the sales invoice header from the posted sales invoice, then the company address, and here is the Rechnung, the German translation for invoice, which we specified earlier in the wizard. And then some information from the sales invoice header, and here below some information that is mainly from my company data, and here pages X to Y. In other words, everything we see here were placeholders from our template, with which we have linked to the data that has been input via the wizard and accordingly included in the output of the document report. When we go to the second page, as discussed, we specified that we wanted just one copy. In our example, this is the copy of the invoice, which can be distinguished from the original by the word Kopie, the German word for copy. This is the translation which we had already defined in the text constants. You've now just seen how easy it is with Qucamba Reports Document Report Wizard to create a new document report for Microsoft Dynamics NAV. This is the end of our tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. Make sure you check out our other videos about creating reports. Thanks for watching.